Islam's teachings and how they solve past and current problems. Part 6. Islam's teachings are a cause for development, advancement and progress. In previous points, we touched upon some of the lofty teachings and high principle of Islam in different examples and areas. And now we wish to shed light upon some of the lofty teachings of Islam that are a cause for development, advancement and progress. By the will of Allah, Exalted, we will limit our discussion to the fields of education, manners, knowledge and work, since growth, development, advancement and progress all occur through these fields. Firstly, some examples of Islam's lofty teachings in the field of education and manners. The Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Every one of you is a shepherd and is responsible for his flock." A man is the guardian of his family and he is responsible for his flock. A woman is the guardian of her husband's home and she is responsible for her flock. The servant of a man is a guardian of the property of his master and he is responsible for his flock. No doubt, every one of you is a shepherd and is responsible for his flock. Sahih al-Bukhari. One teaching praiseworthy traits and noble characteristics, for example, honesty, trustworthiness, not cheating, honoring guests, kindness toward parents and neighbors, sympathy for the poor and needy, etc., and a caution against vile characteristics and traits like treachery, garreling, etc. following a resume of the noble Quranic verses and prophetic hadiths that explain this. Allah, Exalted, says, "Worship Allah and join none with him in worship, and do good to parents, kinsfolk, orphans, the poor, the neighbor who is near of kin, the neighbor who is a stranger, the companion by your side, the wayfarer, and those whom your right hands possess. Verily, Allah does not like such as are proud and boastful." Surah An-Nisa, 36. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "A true believer does not taunt, curse, abuse or talk indecently," narrated by Ahmad, meaning, the believer is not given to cursing, abusing and taunting people, nor is he given to bad behavior and actions. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, once asked 3 times, "Shall I not inform of the worst of the major sins?" They said, "Of course." He, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Associating others in worship with Allah, mistreatment of parents, and killing oneself." He sat up from reclining position and said, "And giving a false oath?" Narrated by al-Bukhari. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Whoever says to a child, 'Come here, I will give you some long,' then does not give him something has lied." Narrated by Ahmad. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Fulfill the trust to him who entrusted it to you, and do not betray him who betrayed you." Narrated by al-Bukhari. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Whoever possesses these 4 traits is a hypocrite. Whoever possesses one of them has an attribute of hypocrisy until he abandons it. He lies whenever he speaks, he does not fulfill whenever he promises, whenever he makes an agreement he proves treacherous, and whenever he argues he becomes vulgar." Narrated by al-Bukhari and Muslim. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, was walking through the marketplace when he passed by a pile of food. He put his fingers in it and felt wetness. He said, "O owner of the food, what is this?" He replied, "It was rained upon." "O Messenger of Allah," he said, "why not put it on top of the food so the people can see it?" Then he said, "Whoever cheats is not one of us." Narrated by Muslim and Ahmad. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "I will be like this in paradise with the person who takes care of an orphan," and he raised his forefinger and middle finger by way of illustration. Narrated by al-Bukhari. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Whoever believes in Allah and the last day must not annoy his neighbor." Narrated by Muslim. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Whoever believes in Allah and the last day must not annoy his neighbor, and whoever believes in Allah and the last day should honor his guest. And whoever believes in Allah and the last day should speak goodness or remain silent." Narrated by al-Bukhari. 2. Teaching the importance of cleanliness, a handsome appearance, and keeping the roads clean and nice. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Indeed Allah is beautiful and he loves beauty." Narrated by Muslim. Meaning, he loves that a person keeps his body, clothes and overall appearance clean. Likewise, he loves that a person keeps his home and the locality in which he lives clean, including streets and roads, etc. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Indeed Allah is pure and He loves purity. He is clean and loves cleanliness, He is generous and loves generosity, He is hospitable and loves hospitality, so clean your courtyards." Narrated by At-Tirmidhi. Islam requires ablution in order to perform the 5 daily prayers. It is done by washing the hands, rinsing the mouth, sniffing water into the nose, then blowing it out, washing the face, washing the hands again, this time until the elbows, wiping the head and cars, and washing the feet until the ankles. Keeping in mind, Islam encourages the economical use of water for purification, ablution and cleaning, and discourages abusing and wasting it. The Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, once passed by Sid while he was performing ablution and said, "What is this excessiveness, O Sid?" Sid replied, "Is there excessiveness in ablution?" He, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, replied, "Yes, even if you were at a flowing river." Narrated by Ahmad. Meaning, it is not permissible to take more water than what is needed for purification, ablution and washing, so as not to abuse and waste the water without benefiting from it. Islam encourages being in a state of purity and ablution before going to sleep as well as upon waking, in preparation for the obligatory dawn prayer. Islam also encourages bathing, which is when a person washes and purifies his entire body with pure, clean water. This illustrates the importance Islam places on complete purity and cleanliness of the body. Islam encourages perfuming and using pleasant scented colognes that bring delight and happiness to the soul. The Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, used to love perfume and used it often. Anas, may Allah be pleased with him, reported, "I have never smelled a scent or musk or amber more pleasant than the scent of the Messenger of Allah, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him." Narrated by Ahmad. Islam encourages purity and cleanliness, which includes cleaning the teeth and freshening the breath by using a siwak, natural toothbrush from the arak tree, something that the Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, encouraged at the time of every ablution, before praying, before sleeping and after waking, including waking early for the obligatory dawn prayer. Indeed, the siwak works to freshen the mouth, gives it a pleasant scent, purifies it from bad odors, and protects it from harmful impurities. The Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "The siwak is purifying for the mouth and pleasing to the Lord." Narrated by An-Nasa. Meaning, purification, including purifying the mouth, is a cause for gaining the pleasure of Allah, glorified and exalted. So it is clear that Islam puts great emphasis on cleanliness, and that it is indeed the religion of purification. Modern science has discovered many medical benefits resulting from the use of the siwak, natural toothbrush from the arak tree, as it contains a substance that is rich in purifying, cleansing and antibacterial properties. This substance has actually recently been used in powder form for cleaning and purifying the mouth. Additionally, swallowing one's saliva after using siwak is not harmful, as opposed to doing so after using modern, commercial toothpastes, as we know that these ingredients can cause harm if swallowed, especially in small children. Islam encourages the removal of harmful objects from the streets and roads. The Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "And removing harmful objects from the road is charity." Narrated by Al-Bukhari and Muslim. The Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "While a man was walking on a road, he came upon a sharp branch in the middle of the road and removed it, i.e., he moved it out of the way to prevent it from harming someone. So Allah thanked him and forgave him." Narrated by Muslim. 3. Teaching humility and shunning arrogance. Allah, exalted, says, "And turn not your face away from men with pride, nor walk in insolence through the earth. Verily, Allah likes not such arrogant boaster. And be moderate, or show no insolence, in your walking, and lower your voice. Verily, the harshest of all voices is the voice, braying, of the ass." Surat Luqman, 18-19. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Allah has revealed to me that you should humble yourselves to one another. One should neither transgress against another nor hold himself above another." Narrated by Muslim. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "The person with even an atom's weight of pride will not enter paradise." Narrated by Muslim. 4. Teaching organization and orderliness. Islam strives to instill the principle of organization and orderliness in people. It disciplines them in it in order for them to implement it. This is clear from its teachings, directives and laws, and an example of this is The ritual of prayer, which Muslims perform in congregation in the masjid, wherein Muslims stand side by side in straight, orderly rows, performing the prayer in a single manner. Their movements and positions are unified and organized, including standing, bowing and prostration to Allah, exalted. All the while following one leader, the person who has the most knowledge and has memorized the most from the Quran, out of respect for knowledge. And there are many more examples of Islamic rituals, teachings, directives and laws that seek to instill and implement the principle of organization and orderliness. 5. Teaching about choosing the best and most beneficial foods, and avoiding anything that is bad and harmful. Allah, exalted, says, O you who believe! Eat of the lawful things that we have provided you with, and be grateful to Allah, if it is indeed He whom you worship. Surat al-Baqarah, 172. Allah, exalted, also says, He allows them all good things, and prohibits them from all evil things. Surat al-Araf, 157. 6. Teaching the beautiful manners of food and eating. A. Washing the hands before eating. B. Sitting down while eating, and avoiding eating while standing or walking. C. The sitting should be on the knees with the feet showing, and this manner of sitting is in agreement the customary way of dining in Japan, or to sit on the left leg with the right leg outstretched. Both manners of sitting help to prevent overeating, thus preventing harm to the stomach. D. Mentioning the name of Allah, exalted, by saying in the name of Allah, before beginning, and invoking the blessings of Allah, exalted, upon the food by saying, O Allah, bless us in the provisions you have given us, then praising and thanking Allah, exalted, after finishing eating for His tremendous graces by saying, all praise is due to Allah. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, indeed Allah is pleased with the slave who catches some food then praises Allah for it, or drinks some beverage then praises Allah for it, narrated by Muslim. Eating with the right hand, and beginning with the food that is in front of you, and then what is beside it. Umar bin Abi Salama, may Allah be pleased with them both, reported, the Messenger of Allah, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said to me, young boy, mention the name of Allah, cat with your right hand, and eat from what is in front of you, narrated by al-Bukhari. F. Eating the amount of food that is beneficial for the body, and avoiding filling the stomach with food so as not to bring harm upon oneself. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, no man fills a container worse than his stomach. A few morsels that keep his back upright are sufficient for him. If he has to, then he should keep 1/3 for food, 1/3 for drink and 1/3 for his breathing, narrated by At-Tirmidhi, Ibn Majah and An-Nas'1. G. Avoiding extravagance and going beyond the natural and allowed limits of eating and drinking. Since eating and drinking many different types of foods and drinks in one meal, overly satisfying one's appetite, could cause harms and expose one to diseases. Allah, exalted, says, and eat and drink but waste not by extravagance. Surat al-Araf, 31. H. Avoiding leaving food leftovers on plates that have been eaten from, and being careful to take only the amount that a person needs, thereby avoiding wasting food. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, there is blessing in the last bits of food, narrated by Ahmad. 7. Teaching about honoring your neighbors with some of your food, according to your ability. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, when you make broth, add more water, then look to your neighbors and pour a generous amount for them, narrated by Muslim. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, he who cats to his fill while his neighbor beside him is hungry is not a true believer, narrated by Al-Hakim. 8. Teaching about care and concern for others, thinking of them and being selfless. Allah, exalted, says, O you who believe! Bow down, and prostrate yourselves, and worship your Lord and do goodness that you may be successful. Surat al-Hajj, 771. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, none of you truly believes until he loves for his brother what he loves for himself. Narrated by al-Bukhari. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, whoever fulfills the need of his brother, Allah will fulfill his need, narrated by al-Bukhari. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, whoever among you is able to benefit his brother should do so, narrated by Muslim. The meaning of brother in these hadiths is your brother in Muslim, as Allah, exalted, says, the believers are but brothers, in Islamic religion. So make reconciliation between your brothers, and fear Allah, that you may receive mercy. Surat al-Hujurat, 10. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Seek me among your weak ones." Narrated by At-Tirmidhi. Meaning, seek my love and pleasure through working to assist the weak, poor and those with special needs by investigating their circumstances, fulfilling their needs and protecting their rights. Thus, you will achieve the pleasure of Allah, blessed and exalted, as Allah, glorified and exalted, loves and is pleased with whomever implements the teachings of his messenger, since it is he, lofty and exalted, who sent his messenger with these lofty, magnanimous teachings to be implemented by people. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "The most beloved people to Allah, mighty and majestic, are those who are most beneficial to the people." Narrated by At-Tabari. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Whoever does not show compassion for children and respect for elders, is not one of us." Narrated by At-Tirmidhi. 10. Teaching the importance of assimilating into the society and spreading the spirit of love and cooperation amongst friends and acquaintances, by spreading the greeting of peace to everyone. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "The best companion in the sight of Allah is the one who is best towards his companion." Narrated by At-Tirmidhi. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "The best people in the sight of Allah are the ones who initiate the greeting of peace." Narrated by Abu Dawud. Meaning, the closest people to Allah and the ones most deserving of his forgiveness and mercy are those who initiate greetings to others by saying, "May peace be upon you," i.e., "I wish you safety and security." The response to this greeting is the same, "And may peace be upon you." Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "O people, spread the greeting of peace, feed others, uphold the ties of kinship, and pray during the night when people are sleeping, and you will enter paradise in peace." Narrated by Ahmad. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "You will not enter paradise until you believe, and you will not believe until you love one another. Shall I inform you of something which, if you do, you will love one another? Spread the greeting of peace amongst yourselves." Narrated by Muslim. Aman asked Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, which is the best Islam? He, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, replied, "Feed the hungry and extend the greeting of peace to those whom you know and do not know." Narrated by Muslim. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Do not belittle any small deed, even if it is greeting your brother with a cheerful countenance." Narrated by Muslim. 11. Teaching the importance of loving others and advising them. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "The religion is sincere advising and well-wishing." Narrated by Muslim. Meaning, giving sincere advice to others is from the teachings of Islam, because it means that you wish well for others and are offering sincere advice and direction to them that will bring out benefit for them and prevent them from evil. 12. Teaching the importance of treating others well. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Behave with others with the best of character." Narrated by At-Tirmidhi. 13. Teaching the importance of honoring guests. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "And whoever believes in Allah and the last day should honor his guests." Narrated by Al-Bukhari. 14. Teaching the importance of treating neighbors well, loving them, visiting them and fulfilling their rights. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "And the best neighbor in the sight of Allah is the one who is best towards his neighbor." Narrated by At-Tirmidhi. 15. Teaching the importance of appreciating time, and honoring appointments, commitments and agreements. Allah, exalted, says, by times, Surat Al-Asr, 1. Meaning, Allah, glorified and exalted, swears by time, due to its importance and value in Islam. Indeed, Islam encourages making good use of time in anything that is beneficial and useful, and discourages abusing and wasting it in non-beneficial and useless things. Allah, exalted, says, 0 You who believe, fulfill your obligations. Surat Al-Ma'idah, 1. Allah, exalted, says, and fulfill every covenant. Verily, the covenant will be questioned about. Surat Al-Isra 34. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, the signs of a hypocrite are 3. Whenever he speaks he tells a lie, whenever he promises he breaks his promise, and whenever he is entrusted he proves dishonest. Narrated by Al-Bukhari. Meaning, the true believer is not characterized by lying, breaking promises, or treachery. 16 Teaching patience, perseverance and optimism, and shunning pessimism. Allah, exalted, says, O you who believe, endure and be more patient than your enemy, and guard your territory by stationing army units permanently at the places from where the enemy can attack you, and fear Allah, so that you may be successful. Surat Al-Imran, 200. Allah, exalted, says, Verily, he who fears Allah with obedience to him, and is patient, then surely, Allah makes not the reward of the good doers to be lost. Surat Yusuf, 90. Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, There is no such thing as omens, and the best omen is optimism. They asked, What is optimism? He said, A good word that one of you hears, and takes as a good omen. Narrated by Ahmad. Meaning, there is no pessimism in Islam, and there is only optimism and glad tidings through good and righteous words. 17 Teaching the importance of earnestness and precision in work. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, Indeed, Allah loves it when someone undertakes some work that he does it with precision. Narrated by Abu Ya'la and At-Tabari. 18 Teaching the importance of teamwork. Allah, exalted, says, Help you one another in virtue, righteousness and piety, but do not help one another in sin and transgression. Surat Al-Ma'idah, 21. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, The believer is to the believer like parts of a building, each one of them supporting the other. Narrated by Al-Bukhari. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, Allah's hand is with the congregation. Narrated by At-Tirmidhi. Meaning, Allah, exalted, blesses and brings success to the congregation. 19 Teaching and instilling the love reading, and encouraging and promoting it. Allah, exalted, says, Read, in the name of your Lord who created. Surat Al-Alaq, 1. Allah, exalted, says, Read. And your Lord is the most generous. Surat Al-Alaq, 3. Some examples of Islam's lofty teachings, propagation and emphasis regarding the field of knowledge and education, as well as appreciation for scholars. Allah, exalted, says, And say, My Lord, increase me in knowledge. Surat Taha, 114. Allah, exalted, says, It is only Allah's knowledgeable slaves who fear him. Surat Fatir, 28. Allah, exalted, says, Allah will exalt and agree those of you who believe, and those who have been granted knowledge. Surat Al-Mujadala, 11. Be some examples of Islam's lofty teachings which encourage your respect and relevance of the scholars. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, And the superiority of the scholar over the worshipper is like the superiority of the moon above all other heavenly bodies. Narrated by At-Tirmidhi. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, Treat people according to their status. Narrated by Abu Dawud. Meaning, determine their rank and honor their status. See some examples of Islam's lofty teachings regarding buying and selling. Allah, exalted, says, And give full measure when you measure, and weigh with a balance that is straight. That is good, advantageous, and better in the end. Surat Al-Isra, 35. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, May Allah's mercy be on him who is lenient, easygoing, in his buying, selling, and in demanding back his money. Narrated by Al-Bukhari. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, The honest, trustworthy trader will be with the prophets, veracious and martyrs. Narrated by At-Tirmidhi. Meaning, he will be in the highest levels of paradise. Some examples of Islam's lofty teachings regarding work. The incitement to work. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, No person eats any food better than that which was brought by the work of his own hands. Narrated by Al-Bukhari. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, It is better for any one of you to take a rope, and cut, and bring a bundle of wood, from the forest, over his back and sell it, and Allah will save his face from the hellfire because of that, rather than to ask the people who may give him or not. Narrated by Al-Bukhari. The encouragement to go to work early, thus taking advantage of the time and preserving it and not wasting it. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, O Allah, bless my nation in their early mornings. Narrated by At-Tirmidhi. Meaning, in the early morning and beginning of the day. 20 Teaching the importance of continuous improvement and changing for the better. Allah, exalted, says, And do good. Truly, Allah loves the good doers. Surat al-Baqarah, 195. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, Allah has prescribed excellence for all things, narrated by Muslim. One type of excellence is excellence in work. The one who excels in his work strives to do well and perfect it, and this is through precision and putting emphasis on developing the skills used in his work. 21. Teaching the importance of sacrifice and giving until the last moment of one's life. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, if the final hour comes while you have a palm cutting in your hands and it is possible to plant it before the hour comes, you should plant it, narrated by Ahmad. Meaning when the person's life comes to an end, or it is the end of the world and all creatures will cease to exist, due to the coming of the day of resurrection, the day in which mankind will be brought to account by Allah, glorified and exalted, and at that moment he is holding a small plant, it is better for him to plant it as long as he is capable of doing so, in spite of the fact that at that moment it will be of no avail to him. Thus, it is befitting for a person to strive and work until the last moment of his life, seeking the reward and pleasure of Allah, glorified and exalted, as Allah, blessed and exalted, says, verily. As for those who believe and do righteous deeds, certainly we shall not suffer to be lost the reward of anyone who does his righteous deeds in the most perfect manner. Surat al-Kahf, 30. We conclude this point by reiterating the following examples of Islam's lofty teachings that elevate social relations and strive to improve them. 1. Initiating the greeting of peace. The Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, the best of people in the sight of Allah are those who initiate the greeting of peace, narrated by Abu Dawud. Abdullah bin Amr said, a man asked the Prophet, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, which Islam is the best? He, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, replied, feed the hungry and extend the greeting of peace, i.e., saying peace be upon you, to those whom you know and do not know, narrated by al-Bukhari. 2. Emphasis on visiting and greeting neighbors. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, whoever believes in Allah and the last day should treat his neighbor well, narrated by Muslim. 3. Exchanging gifts in order to spread love and affection among the Muslims. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, if you exchange gifts you will love one another, narrated by al-Bukhari. Laughing gently and taking care to not make your voice loud, Allah, exalted, says, indeed in the Messenger of Allah, Muhammad, you have a good example to follow for him who hopes in the meeting with Allah in the last day and remembers Allah much. Surat al-Ahzab, 21. His laugh, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, was a smile, and when he was extremely happy about something he would laugh quietly and in a dignified manner, without making loud sounds. The encouragement to meet others with a smile and cheerful countenance, in order to bring delight and happiness to their hearts. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, was always happy, easygoing, gentle-natured and kind-hearted. Abdullah bin al-Harith said, I have never seen anyone who smiled more than the Messenger of Allah, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, narrated by At-Tirmidhi. In spite of his being occupied with matters of propagation and inviting others to the religion of Allah, exalted Islam, as well as all the oppression and fighting he sustained and endured from the enemies of Islam, it never prevented him, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, from striving to bring delight and happiness to the hearts of his companions, such that he was in the habit of happiness and smiling in their faces whenever he met them. The companion Jabir bin Abdullah, may Allah be pleased with him, informed us the condition of the Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, every time he saw him, saying, he never showed me anything but a smile in my face, narrated by Muslim. And the Prophet Muhammad, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, your smile in your brother's face is charity, narrated by At-Tirmidhi. Therefore Islam renders each one of its followers brothers to one another. Hopefulness and working for a better future are achieved through cheerfulness and smiling.